Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we've got 4 great new decks for you today. Before we go, I want to tell you something. We have 2 completely really cool decks that you probably are not going to find anywhere else. One, I'm 1000% sure, the one that's the thumbnail. We are not going to talk about the patch today. We're also not going to have any new Fastos decks for you today. I'm a teacher. Tonight is prom. I'm going to prom to support my kiddies. So I'm making this video a little bit early, and I don't want to give you any old Fastos list the first I see. I want to give you a good Fastos list. So tomorrow you can expect 2 videos from me, an OTA video and a morning video with the regular 4 decks, including some Fastos decks and takes on Fastos from great content creators. So cool. Make sure, hopefully that's good enough for you, and you stay tuned. In addition, Snap Judgments League Season 3 is kicking off July 8th. You have until then to sign up. It's for all Patreon tier levels. This is a tournament where you play 1 game a week, so hopefully you're interested in checking that out. If you are, join the Discord to the Snap Judgments League Discord in the bottom of this video. As long as you join that Discord, you'll find all the steps to signing up for the league. It is awesome. We have over $500 in prizes. All right, the first deck we're going to talk about is Space's Street Urchins and Tech Virgins. This deck is really, really sick. It is incredibly powerful, and honestly, not the most expensive thing you're going to find, because a lot of the expensive stuff is totally replaceable. However, this is one of the best decks in the game, and if we see nerfs to the Ravonna package, we're talking about the Angela stuff, I lost the name of Thena for a second. The Thena stuff, Kitty. If we see nerfs to any of that stuff, I could easily see this package taking over as the best in the game. This is so very strong. All right, Space, aka Silky Johnson, made this list. Space is a top-level player, top 1,000 player, who hangs out a lot in like the Woody Discord and talks to a lot of top players. For this list in particular, just for the record, this was built in conjunction with, well, tested with a lot of people, but Shuri Enjoyer has a version where instead of Green Goblin, he runs the hood. That is the only real difference. There's not many other changes. Nico here can be Iceman or Titania if you feel like Titania. Nocturne can be Jeff, Gladiator, or Polaris. I think you could actually probably change White Widow. White Widow is very good here. White Widow could be Medusa. You can try Wolfsbane for Sage, but that too is significantly worse. Cool. If you're changing Nocturne for Gladiator or Polaris in particular, if you're changing for Polaris, you're helping the Clog. If you're changing for Gladiator, you're just adding power. If you're changing for Jeff, you're helping avoid Clog on your side. Wolfsbane will not get as big as Sage does usually, but Wolfsbane can be big enough to win in a pinch. All good? Great. All right, so this went 30 and 13 in the end, has hit top 1,000. I've got myself a 67% win rate with this deck in about 15 games. So if you combine those two, it's probably it's probably 68, 69%, right? This deck is very, very strong. And if you want even more than this turn by turn, check the pinned comment. Space was kind enough to write up a freaking essay about how to play this deck, and the point of every card. So that is in the description to this video. So turn 1, Unico if it's a good spell, and you're looking for a good spell traditionally into Mysterio or White Widow. You don't really want a good spell on Ravonna. You don't want to give her +2 power. You don't want to copy her. But blowing up a Mysterio clone or turning it into a demon or giving that +2 power has more value. Same basic thing for Widow, except Widow doesn't want the 2 power, but you will take a copy of White Widow where you won't necessarily for Mysterio, etc. Get the idea? Cool. So turn 2 is Ravonna is your priority. Ravonna opens up 1,000 plays for this list. We'll get to those as we go. Mysterio is great. It sets up I can play Mockingbird. I tend to like my Mockingbirds later with this list because you can play a free Mockingbird if you go Mysterio, and then later on you've got or a 1-cost one is just nearly as good. Or if you've got the Mysterio clones and in a Nihilus, a Void, then your last turn can be 1/9 Mockingbird with Sersi, which is perfectly fine. And if you Sersi on 5 and you've got 2 Mysterio clones and that's a full lane, that's 5 cards, which means free Mockingbird. Cool. White Widow is obviously just good. It's just a good card. It goes in a ton of decks as a very, very powerful card. Turn 3 is Goblin or Nocturne. Mysterio and Nico are often great here in tandem. This is where you'll get that extra draw 2 or whatever else. If you have Ravonna and Sentry in hand, Shuri is great because Shuri's Sentry is stellar for this list. You've now got a 16 power lane and another lane perfectly set up for Sersi, which is really nice. So turn 4, if you didn't Sersi on 3, Sersi is great. Shuri is great here. Excuse me, not Sersi. Shuri is great here. Sentry is good as well, even without the Shuri, and you can always just drop 2/2s. Turn 5, where possible, you would generally speaking like to sersi, although if you played that huge sentry, then Taskmaster is good. I've also found lately that reasonably often, not all the time, but I'm shuriing a decent amount of Nocturne here. If my opponent drops Magic on 4 and I've shuried, I'll just shuri Nocturne. I mean, again, stop that 10. Perfectly fine play. Turn 6, Taskmaster Mockingbird or Sage of Mockingbird are your general plays. Mockingbird is fairly often 1 if you sersi on 5 again, or 0. Taskmaster copying that. So if you shuri sersi, you've got a 14 power sersi to copy into another lane, which is pretty damn big. Not as good as 16, obviously, as Sentry, but still 14's nothing to sneeze at. You play that with Mockingbird, you've just played a 23 power last turn. You can also drop Sage in Mockingbird, and Sage is often 10, and you've got a 19 power last turn. Or after a Sersi or Ravonna, you can go Shuri Mockingbird and Sage, or Taskmaster Mockingbird and Sage, and that's just silly, right? If you went Shuri into Sersi and you have Ravonna out, you can spend your last turn going Taskmaster to copy that 14 power Sersi, or you can just make Taskmaster 9, copying a free Mockingbird, and then you can Sage on top of that for like a 30-point final turn. That's where the real power of this deck lies, how much power it puts out right at the end. People play around Annihilus, and then you just go so much taller than they do in the lane where you've got that Void and where you're putting all these other powerful cards. This is, again, a stellar list. If you want a whole bunch more on it, please check out the description of this video. If you have Ravonna, Sersi, and Mockingbird, you can play this list, and probably should. Please hit that sub, please like, please comment. Our subs are actually down, dear friends. We're not losing views. I think just like 80% of my viewers are subbed, but if you are one of those 20% who are not subbed, please hit that sub button. It really does help us grow. We bring you 7 days of videos here on Snap Judgments. We have the best decks before the meta knows what hit them. We can popularize decks here, so if you want to stay ahead of the meta, this is the place to be. If you're already subbed, like, comment, watch as long as you can. It helps us more than I can tell you. We would really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, our next deck is Sandrian. Sandrian is a usually like a top 40 player. I didn't actually check his current rank because the leaderboard is driving me a little crazy. It's pretty bugged right now. Had a 67% win rate in about the top 100 in 100 games with this, Makari list, this Makari Sand list. This is really, really annoying to play against. I don't know if you've ever seen this list, but I have, and if you're not running the kitty bullshit, this list is very hard to beat. And honestly, if the kitty bullshit is trying to go too wide late and they don't read the Sandman, and like top players will read the Sandman, but anyone not top will not necessarily read the Sandman, you can steal games that way as well. All right, you can find Sandrian at twitter.com/Sandrian, and Marvel Snap page is how what brought this to my attention, so check out twitter.com/Marvel Snap page. Nebula can be Iceman or Nico here. Nebula is good at scaling, especially with Sandman, but not amazing. Widow can be Lizard or Medusa. Widow is, again, just a nice card here. Jean, our friend Safety, has a version of this where Jean is just Jubilee, and the deck works fine. You can also make that Red Guardian. And Ms. Marvel and Ms. Marvel and just Ms. Marvel and Ms. Marvel is needed. Jean is not. Nocturne is the card that can be Red Guardian or Jubilee as well. Jean or Nocturne can be Jubilee or Red Guardian, and you can make those changes. So as long as you have Ms. Marvel and are reasonably far into Series 3, you can play this list. You also probably need Jeff. Jeff is the card I was actually looking for. That's also needed because Jeff is super key to play after Sandman. Thank you, Brain, for coming together. I appreciate you. Sorry, trying to get through this before my son goes home, and then I have to get dressed and go to prom. All right, so this is a top 100 deck and a climber at this win rate. So turn 1 is, generally speaking, Nebula blind right. That's at least my preferred play. I like to take the chance when I run Nebula in decks of blind, because sometimes it destroys itself and sometimes it does nothing, but sometimes it's in a lane where it gets really huge, they don't want to play, and it's really hard to deal with. Turn 2, Widow or Pass. I rarely Jeff. I only play Jeff early if I can tell they're a clog deck. The giveaway that they might be a clog deck is often that they played Nebula too. Turn 3 is Jean mid over Nocturne, and the reason you're Jean midding is because if Makari goes into a lane, you don't want to turn off your Ms. Marvel, and Jean mid prevents that. And that's generally better than Nocturne, depending what your opponent does. If your opponent... it's just basically always Jean mid. Jean's just not always great if your opponent's already dropping Kitty Angela bullshit, right? Although Jean elsewhere outside of that Angela can often be like, I'm going to keep that Angela a little smaller, which isn't terrible. Turn 4, Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel. I tend to prefer Captain Marvel early if I know I have Jeff late, because if I have Sandman, I want to do that. Then turn 5 is Sandman. If you don't have Sandman, you're playing the Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel thing there, whichever of the one you didn't play. And then turn 6, I would really like to play Jeff and Ms. Marvel. That is 2 more power total than Doctor Doom if you get it going. So generally speaking, better. And that's better than Magneto. So that's how I like to play this list. I think this list is great. Be careful with your Ms. Marvel. You should win a lot of cubes with this list if you have access to these cards. Makari is, again, really great in Sandman list because it's just an extra free power in a deck that really wants to play 1 card a turn, and having that extra 1 power is very good, as is Jeff, who can play through Sandman. Everything else is about spreading power wide, and if you spread power wide, i.e. cards like Nightcrawler, and unpredictably, cards like Nightcrawler, Captain Marvel, Nocturne, and then Ms. Marvel, Doom, and even to some extent Magneto, then you should be able to win the game of Marvel Snap, which is, the goal here. All right. If you would like gameplay from these decks and many, many more, please check out the stream team. Today is Wednesday, so GamingwithFlashX at 5 p.m. Eastern will be streaming these decks. If you'd like to see yesterday's decks, check out Prashaun. He should have a video on his channel with his favorite of these decks. And tomorrow we've got FaThorNewman at 10 a.m. I'd also like to welcome our new member coming in on Sundays is the King of Canada, who will be doing stream on Sundays at noon. All good? Make sure you check these out. We'd really appreciate it. Remember, the day list is the day they stream. The next morning will be a video of that stream. Next up, we have a new archetype. This is Lunch Money. This is a deck made by both Loot Muncher and Safety Blade. This is a totally new archetype where it's basically like, why do we have to keep doing the same boring thing, just putting Sersi in decks? That's kind of what today's theme has been, right? The Shuri Sersi, awesome. This is another way to do Sersi. These decks are literally 1 card different. It is Nocturne or Gambit. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry about that. It is Nocturne or Gambit. All good? Outside of that, this is the same list. Loot Muncher and Safety built this by committee. Lat and Proxima can be Dakin, Mobius Collector, Meek. You can also consider Psylocke or Zabu. You need Sersi. You cannot do this deck without Sersi. And then I wrote the last slide in the wrong spot. I'm telling you, today has been hectic. We're at our 2nd/3rd to last day of school. I'll tell you this at the end of the video. I'm going to go over all my bullshit at the end of the video. Oh no. Turn 1 is Blade if you have a good target, and the best target here is Swarm, but you'll consider, I don't know, I guess you're probably really only Swarming. You'll consider Proxima. Turn 2 is Colleen for Swarm. Then turn 3, you're doing turn 1 or 2, or you can play Gambit. If not the Gambit version, you play Nocturne. Turn 4, you really want Wong, and if not Wong, you'll Lad. Turn 5 is meant to be Samurai or Black Bolt. You would really, again, like to make 1,000,000 Swarms here at some point, so feel free to prioritize that. There's some times where you'll Gambit and Colleen in the other version of the deck where you don't have Nocturne. That's perfectly fine. And then turn 6 is Sersi and a bunch of stature and a bunch of Swarms. You can also play Doom. You can also play Gambit as a Hail Mary at the end. Like, you can just drop Gambit Swarms and be like, let's see what Gambit hits, and if Gambit hits the right things, I get this game. That's a perfectly fine play, especially if you ended up going Sersi on 5 for whatever reason. Safeties, remember it. Loot Munchers. What did Loot call it? Lunch Money. Same deck. They both basically worked together and created a whole new archetype in Marvel Snap. Do I think this is a tier 1 deck? No, but I think this is really fun and worth playing around with. And I think that if your opponent's not expecting the Wong Silver Samurai or Wong Black Bolt, you're going to steal a lot of cubes. You're going to be able to get a lot of cubes with this because no one's going to know what the hell you are doing. Hey, Snap Masters is a major tournament. June 23rd was the first open qualifications. You were trying to get into the group stage. There's a whole invitational group in the group stage we'll talk about in a minute. First, we're going to look at the decks that won open qualifications 1. We're not going to break these down. I just want to show you what they are. The first winner is FAK Yakublevich. Yakublevich played a Sersi Annihilus Sentry list. We saw this deck in the Snap Judgments League. It ran, instead of running Debris, it ran Pixie. Outside of that, it is the same basic concept. So again, in Snap Judgments League, if you want to check Monday's video, we covered a deck that is just like this and has all the same play lines. Note to self, this deck's real strong. And again, I'm trying to keep in mind that we might lose Thena We might lose Thena, Ravonna, Angela packages soon, and if we do, we're looking at what might take over, and this is a serious contender. Next up, we have Roy. Roy played a Loki deck. This is the KM best version of Loki that runs Thena and Angela. It basically says, I'm half Noki, half Loki. It's got the whole, like, I can just play Noki thing going for it just fine, and then, you know, you can also win by Loki. Very cool list. This one takes most practice to know when you're supposed to keep going with your Thena Angela stuff and when you're supposed to play Loki. But hey, the Thena Angela stuff is the strongest package in Marvel Snap right now. So winning on that's not a terrible idea. And then sometimes you just get that package, but cheaper by playing Loki. Next up, we have Kazuma, and this is the deck that won the Snap Judgments League, except it had Juggernaut in the Jeff spot. I call this the best deck in the game, because not only is it number 1 on the Infinite Leaderboard last I checked, not only did it win the Snap Judgments League and qualify for Snap Masters, this deck also has a extremely high, like 60+%, 67, 68% win rate. So this deck does it all. This is the best deck in Marvel Snap. Within a card or two, Morph and Jeff are your swing cards. I know someone, hi Gio, I know someone that has cut the Morph entirely, kept the Juggernaut, but instead added Cosmo for Morph, and is sort of smashing face with that. There's a lot of ways to go with this. Again, we cover this deck as well, fully in Monday's video, if you're interested in checking that out. If you would like to make this tournament, please check out Sunday. So far in are the Great Sizer, top 10 player, Spyro, constant top 20 player. Spyro and Sizer will be on the podcast together the second week of July. We have 2 more FAKs. FAK is the group hosting the tournament, Andre Var and I Lawson. We've got Streamer Johnson, Tori Kun, Desmond, the Great Lambie series, W, Brada, Husky Puppies 35, and Ava Zord, all as invitees to the tournament. Now joining that are FAK Yakublevich, SV Roy, and Sid Kazuma, which means we've got multiple different, like, crews or teams represented in this tournament. And then we've got 3 more joining this Sunday. So if you want to join, it'll be in the description to this video. Last deck of the day is Cake or Death. This is from our friend Doombot. It is, another Mockingbird deck. If you didn't get Mockingbird, I mean, I don't know, they're going to have to nerf this damn card soon, I think. But, like, I think the best thing to do is to figure out what package you want Mockingbird in. So if you can get Mockingbird, get Mockingbird. It's really, really strong. Whether it's the Moon Girl package, whether it's the Mysterio package, this list is extremely strong. This climbed over 10,000 ranks into the top 1,000. I told Boombot to get this into the top 1,000 for me to feature it, and we are there. All right, so Boombot is a member of our Discord. You should check out our Discord if you want really great Snap conversation. It's, again, the same place you would sign up for the tournament in the description of this video. Nico and X23 can be Yondu, Nova, Angel, stuff like that. You just want other ones that can get destroyed and that help destroy triggers. You need Sasquatch. She's often awkward, but there's not like a great replacement. You can try Iron Man if you really, really must. Mockingbird and Deathstrike are 1,000% you. Don't play this list without Mockingbird and Deathstrike. Again, I think Mockingbird is one of the 2 or 3 most important cards in the game. If I had to pick most important cards, just because I know someone's going to ask, I think it'd probably be like Mockingbird and Ravonna, and then Sage. Mockingbird, Ravonna, Sage would be the cards I think that you need for the current meta. They're like the ones that when you're trying to replace them, you're really like banging your head into the world. Thena or Sage is sort of debatable. All right, so this climbed to top 1K, 10,000. Turn 1 is 1s, and turn 2 is more 1s. Turn 3, you can Mockingbird if you would like to, because sometimes you destroy all those 1s and make Mockingbird expensive. But figure out what you want to do before you do that. My family is home, so we're going to fly a little bit through this. Turn 4 is Moon Girl or Destroy. Turn 5, Deathstrike or Moon Girl, or a bunch of cheap stuff to set up Sasquatch or Mockingbird. Turn 6, as many big things as you can. Double Death and Mockingbird work. Would you like to come say hello to the video? No, not right now? Sure. Come on. You gotta lean all the way over. Lean all the way over. This is my son, Noah. Say hello.
Hi.
Okay, go. Let me finish this, please. Tell Mommy I'm doing this, please. Thank you, bud.
Mama, Daddy's doing a video.
Well, I meant, like, go talk to her so I can continue, sir. All right, this is one last look at the deck. Let's do questions of the day and get out of here. Again, today has been a day. I'm telling you, friends. I'm telling you. All right, questions of the day, and we out. I'm sorry, Boombot. That was not expected. Fortunaut asks, let's do a better last look at this deck. This list is really fun and really powerful. It's also one of the cheaper things you can do. Moon Girl is rising in the meta, as we saw last week, as we took a look at the at whose list was it? FAK Mulwin's list. So be sure to pay close attention to Moon Girl list, as they're another potential riser in the absence of this Angela, Thena, Ravonna package. Is that package going away? I don't know, but I'm starting to prepare for it, because if it's not going away this OT, it's going away next. It's too good. All right, questions of the day. Let's go. Portionot asks why breaks make you better, especially longer breaks, and because they give your brain time to learn. If you're still thinking of the game when you're not playing, like not consciously, but like if you're still letting it be part of your mind starts to adjust. The learning of your lesson sort of takes place and takes shape and is able to change your behavior the longer breaks you take. But if you take too long of a break, you'll just forget what you were doing. As long as you take a long enough break to like still remember things, you tend to get better at it. Jared Gamble wants to know how to avoid tilt. Okay, so we have this app that our friend made. His name is Primed Ryan. If you are interested, Ryan, do me a favor if you're watching, please leave a link in the video, and I will and people can go find it. And I will post it in my description tomorrow. I'll pin it tomorrow. I've got to pin the other thing today, so I'll pin that in the description to the video tomorrow. It is like amazing tilt advice on this app. It has really helped Gunny. How do I personally avoid tilt? I get upset for 2 seconds. I stop. I take a couple breaths, and I'm able to calm myself down. It's basically, for me, it's reminding myself what I'm upset about, and that it's a game, and that like even when Sersi turns XYZ into the stupidest things possible, it's a game. As much as it's a game, life is good. I'm sharing this game with other people. The community is what's important to me, and I just repeat to myself what my priorities are, and that my priorities aren't necessarily win individual game of Marvel Snap, even if that's something I want to do. And by slowly reminding myself of that, my heart rate comes down, my breathing renormalizes, and I'm able to continue. Mandatory Burnout asks about Snap content creator unionization. So I love unions. Unions are collective bargaining. That would need to be a YouTube content creator unionization, not a Snap content creator unionization or a Twitch content creator unionization. Because what it ultimately is Marvel Snap is not my employer. That's why I can shit on what they do, right? I don't like shit on what they do anyway. But Marvel Snap are not my employer, so they don't pay me. So it would have to be whoever pays me. It'd have to be collectively bargaining with somebody. Should we have a YouTube Snap content creator? Maybe. It's hard to argue we're not independent contractors, and considering how many of us share our stuff on multiple platforms. But I think it's worth looking into at the very least, and at least worth thinking about. Should it be specific to Marvel Snap? No, that won't work at all. Finally, Ratko wants my thoughts on Bond, the movie, and my favorite Bond. All right, well, I'm cliche, so my favorite Bond is Sean Connery. As a kid, I watched 20-something Bond movies. I want to say 27, but that feels wrong. Feels too high. I watched a bajillion Bond movies. I watched basically all the Moore and the Connery stuff, and then I watched all but the most recent Daniel Craig stuff. I believe it's Daniel Craig stuff. I've heard it's great, but I haven't watched it. So I don't know what my favorite one is anymore. It's just been too long. But for a while, when I first started teaching, I taught the book Casino Royale, which was amazing and hilarious. Because I had to teach my kids how to play Baccarat for it to really make any sense. So there was like a mini part of the unit where we learned Baccarat without gambling, so that the book would make more sense. And it ended up being really good. The kids really got into it. It was fun. So that's my favorite Bond thing, just because of it. While that's hopefully not as cliche an answer as my Sean Connery answer. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. If you're interested in joining this group, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments. I'd like to say thank you to the OG Abigail Heason, our friend Mandatory Burnout, Cables. Hey Cables, thanks for worrying about me getting killed by a light yesterday. Irregardless, yes, it's a word. David G. Wingfield, Lion Away. Dire Wolf, hey Dire Wolf. LAB, always kind. FaThorNewman, check him out on YouTube, member of the stream team. Good Dog Gamer, wonderful person. This is The Way, all the way from Scotland. Inc. Let's write it. I am Frostman, you sure are. Jay Nevreet. Doomer. Primed Ryan. Hey, we just talked about you. Caretixley, the king of questions. Koirei. All the way from Japan. Pyrophoros. Hey, Pyro. The Goat Seeker, my regular opponent. My wife decided to open things. It's okay. Denman Falcon. Check him out on YouTube as well. Joe Pro. Welcome to the group, Joe Pro. Thank you so much for joining. Docty, king of new card content. Fat Nick. Doku, Ginger Prime Ginge, I'm going to hurry up now. Sorry, everybody. Ratko, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins with the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Notorious Bizza, Extras V and Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, who won Snap Champions League Season 1 and is helping us to sponsor Season 2, The King of Bros, bruh, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Woody, KFC Hoda, Luna Chris, who's Love and Bounce, Archangel 3K, welcome aboard, Louis Antunes, Mod Supreme Models, the one and only Darth Tater, Remus Atala, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrum X, Hoot, Matt H, DJ, Mikey Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, Pretty Damn Chill, Seamus, all caught up, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Pirate King, Tuccrr, The Homie Minute, of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for I'll explain what the hell is going on with my life tomorrow. I'm going to get out of here so my family can start making noise. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.